welcome to Sports Corner with Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier. And now here's your host, Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier.
We built this city. We built this city on rock and roll. Built this city.
Oh yeah, we built this city. Smokin' Jim Frazier and myself, we built this city for sports talk. And yes, indeed, we did. There's some Starship for you. Yes, indeed. We're going to rock this city today with some great sports talk. And I got to tell you, we have some great guests coming on today. We have Scott GIBSON, who's the head coach of the new Pittsburgh Riveteers women's soccer team in Pittsburgh here. They'll be starting up next season and playing in the USL. And then at 4:30 by phone, we have Matt VENSEL. He'll be joining us as well to talk about the Penguins. Are on a big winning streak right now. And it's going to be a fun show for you today. Later on at 5 o'clock, Wrestle Talk. Our guest, Matt Varanick, he is going to join us. He is the ring announcer for the pros of wrestling. And we're going to talk about the Survivor Series. And I got some audio of some of last night's Raw that you might want to listen to if you didn't see it. And Matt Riddle has joined TNA. We'll talk about that next hour on the Wrestle Talk show with me, Ralph Williams, Smokin' Jim Frazier. Smokin' Jim, welcome to the program. How are you today?
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I'm ready for this one, buddy.
Oh, you know it, man. You know it. Anyway, Smokin' Jim will be telling us his wisdom. But first, I'm going to do my rant. Last night at 5 p.m., and I normally don't do this, but I'm promoting tonight the report by Andy Sheehan on Channel 2 last night about the NIL. And I got to tell you, Andy Sheehan did it again. It was a very thorough report. He had a sports agent on named Rocco Koza, who came on and talked about the NIL, about how kids 18 years old that are just getting into college making $5 million at some universities. He gave the figures of how much Eli Holstein is making, but I'm not releasing those figures until Saturday on the Sports Corner radio show. And that's my rant for today. Smokin' Jim's wisdom.
Hey, great job, Ralph. Man, I tell you what, man, the one thing that is true, Najee Harris' girlfriend can't cook.
No, it wasn't his girlfriend. It was Pat Firemoose' girlfriend. That's who it is.
Was it?
Yeah, it was Pat Firemoose' girlfriend. Can't cook.
But hey, man, everybody beat up Dan Moore for giving up sacks for superhuman, Myles Garrett, but nobody's giving him credit for dominating Hendrickson, the guy that's leading the NFL in sacks. He only gave up 1 tackle and 0 sacks. I think that the news media should be just as enthusiastic when they're trashing a guy who's having a great year. They should be just as enthusiastic as when he plays a great game with maybe one of the best sack guys in the league. And lastly, congratulations to Central Catholic and Avonworth. They're the only 2 teams from the West that make it to the championship in the PIAA. Avonworth is my favorite team. They're a very hard-nosed team. They don't throw the football. They run the ball and play great defense, and I'm pulling for them to win states.
All right, Diggs BTW7 says, what's up? What's up, Diggs BTW7? All right, thank you for watching the show as always. All right, so we're going to get into our sponsor here, our studio sponsor here, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Call today, 724-201-0500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. And today, Scott GIBSON is brought to you in part by the original Hometown Pizza, Moon Township, University Boulevard, 412-264-4444. Call them today. It's Double Stack Tuesday. Plus, you use my name, Ralph Williams, when you call. You will get a discount, excuse me, on your order. And that is 412-264-4444. They also have delivery, takeout, or pickup. Excuse me. Takeout, delivery, and also eat in as well. All right, we're gonna get to Scott here in a minute. Here we go. Let's get him up. Scott GIBSON, the head coach of the new Pittsburgh Riveteers. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you so much for having me, Ralph. I appreciate it.
All right, no problem. Smokin' Jim, say hello to Scott.
Hey, what's happening, Sky?
What's going on, Smokin' Jim?
All right. Scott, tell us a little bit about the Pittsburgh Riveteers. I know it's a new women's soccer team here, and that's coming up here in the Pittsburgh area. Explain about the Pittsburgh Riveteers.
Yeah, so I've been involved with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, which is the men's soccer team here in Pittsburgh, and we have an academy of kids that are all the way through from 3 through 18, and through that process, we've had many young girls that have came through our academy. That now we're playing collegiately and beyond, and there just became a demand here for a women's team. So that the women's team, this is brand new, it's fresh. We'll be starting up our season next May of 2025. But we're already, trying to build the roster out and get things rolling. But there's been a huge buzz for this, and I think it's a long overdue thing that the city of Pittsburgh needs.
Yeah, there's a lot of buzz now for women's sports. Lacrosse. There's also the Penguins are talking about bringing in a professional women's hockey team. That's in the works. We're talking about WNBA possibly coming here. So there's a lot of different women's sports that are very popular. World soccer, women's soccer, and basketball, and it's becoming a whirlwind of this. And for the Riveteers to even to start a soccer team, and like you said, there's just a huge demand for this, Scott. And I'm so happy that you guys are here, and I'm here to support you in any way I can.
No, we appreciate that, Ralph, and it's something that's been much needed. So many girls, not just in Pittsburgh, but surrounding areas too. We've had girls from an hour or two away from the city of Pittsburgh itself who've been involved in our academy and that are now playing at some of the top universities in the country. So they want a place to play. When they come back here, and since we made the announcement, we've so many people and so many players and coaches have reached out to us as an organization to get their players involved. So it's been really exciting, and we're selling season tickets and doing all that fun stuff at Highmark Stadium. So it's really been a juggernaut already. We haven't even got going yet.
All right, Smokin' Jim, you have any questions for Scott?
Yeah, Scott, where's your accent from, sir?
Well, I moved here in 2003 from England, and I played soccer at Duquesne University. So I've lived here 20 years now, and I absolutely love this city. So it's amazing.
That's great. It's great that you were associated with the Riverhounds and how you helped out there, Bob Lilly and the guys over there. They had kind of a rough season this year a little bit, but they picked it up at the end. And it was nice to see that they didn't get blown out by any teams this year. There were some tough losses, and it was great to see that they at least were one step away from getting into the playoffs and whatnot. So but what do you how are you going to recruit your players? What are you looking to do to get players here?
Yeah. So we've already brought in 2 players currently. One of those players, her name is Tessa Delarose. She's from Brownsville, PA. And actually plays at North Carolina. So she's going to come in. She's already committed to us. And another girl named Piper Caulfield, who's from Mars, PA, who plays for Indiana University. So those 2 are in already. We have an open tryout on Friday night, this Friday, an open tryout, and that's for anyone who wants to sort of try out for the team. And then in December, we will have a more invitational-based combine where we target players, some who have came through the Riverhounds Academy, but others who may not have, that are not just locally but nationally want a place to play in Pittsburgh next summer. So it's a step process. Like I said, the next big thing is the open tryout on Friday. And you also have players in there who still have the dream and want to continue playing, and we'll sort of see how that goes.
All right, Smokin' Jim, you have any more questions for Scott?
No, sir.
All right, Scott. How many games are on your schedule? You're fixing to start up in 25. Is that correct?
Yeah, it starts the May of 25. We have 12 regular season games, and then after that, there's playoffs. Pending that if we make the playoffs, which is obviously the goal, we got to we got to stay intact with Bob Lilly and the Riverhounds, and obviously I know Bob well, and we're working together on this. So if we can get through those 12 regular season games and into a playoff run in year one, that'll be exciting.
Oh yeah, it will be, and it's great that you're the head coach. You know a lot about soccer. It's great to see you. And the Riverhounds have always been a professional team. They've always had professional coaches, professional people, and they run a professional team as well in a group, and a great organization there. So all your home games will be at Highmark Stadium. What games do you think are going to be your toughest this year? What team looks tough for you that you might have some problems with?
Well, we're unsure yet of exactly the conference that we're going to be in. So the league's putting that all together right now. There was a team out of Buffalo that just came in as a franchise yesterday. So they're piecing that together geographically. Teams in Buffalo, teams in Cleveland. So I would obviously say Cleveland, right? Because that's a rivalry there with Pittsburgh.
It'll be a great rivalry, yeah.
Yeah. So that will be on the cards. But like I said, we haven't got the schedule yet. It's not all finalized from league. That should be done here, hopefully by the turn of the new year. But no, it's just an exciting thing to be able to build a team from scratch. You can get the right people in early on and keep learning and keep building as we go year to year.
All right, we're talking to the head coach, Scott Gibson of the new Pittsburgh Riveteers. Don't worry, we'll be supporting them. You'll be hearing them a lot here. We're going to run ads and things like that, try to help them build up a fan base. You always have the support of both Sports Corner show here and our radio show on Saturday on 1250 AM and 92.5 FM, The Answer as well. And that's every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m., the Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, Smokin' Jim Frazier, and I got the wrong graphic. There we go. Smokin' Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. So we'll also be supporting it there as well because we want to see you succeed. And I'm always here to help the guy, new teams and teams like yourself, and that other stations and other talk shows won't do. So that's what Smokin' Jim and I are here to do, is to help you out with this. Smokin' Jim, you have any questions for Scott? Any more final questions?
No, great interview, man. I enjoyed that one.
All right, thank you, Scott. Thanks for being part of the program, and I really appreciate you being here. And great success and good luck with you. And you never know, you might see me at a game or two.
Oh, I appreciate it.
The Riverhounds games, but I've had some issues, so I haven't been able to get there. So but
yeah. If you guys need tickets, just let me know. It's either the Riverhounds or the Riveters. We really appreciate your support, and it was great talking to you both today.
All right, thank you very much, Scott Gibson, head coach of the new Pittsburgh Riveteers, which is starting up May of 2025. They are the new ladies soccer team, which is sponsored by the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And those of you know who the Riverhounds are, and if you don't, you need to get your head out of the sand because they've been around a while and they're very popular in Pittsburgh now. Soccer has become popular all across the country. Smokin' Jim, your thoughts on the new Pittsburgh Riveteers?
And I agree with you. You laid it out right, man. If I was an investor, I'd invest in women's sports because, man, it's on the rise. Flag football, soccer.
Yeah, lacrosse.
Basketball.
Volleyball.
I don't know about lacrosse. I'll take your word for that one. But
women's lacrosse is very popular now.
I believe you.
And hockey.
You know more
women's
than me.
Ice hockey. Yeah, that's become popular too.
Some things they need to stay out of.
Hey, you're not going to say that to the Passion, are you? You're not going to say that to the Passion, right? Okay.
Hey, that's one of my favorite teams. They can play some football.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could get them on the show here, but they keep ignoring my emails and my phone calls. So but
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. They're usually so positive, I guess.
I don't know. I have no clue what's going on. But anyway. All right, let's see who we have here today. We have my good friend Jeremy Balwick on here. Kneecap biting. Hello, Jen Smokin' Jeremy B here. Next week, we're going to have two Smokins. We're going to have Smokin' Jim Frazier and my good friend Smokin' Jeremy Balwick from the Kneecap biting, the Motor City Lions. He's going to talk about Detroit Lions. Chicago Bears fired their coach, Matt Everfluss. And get this, Ben Johnson is the #1 candidate, the offensive coordinator for the Lions. And Jeremy's going to explain all that to us. We're going to talk about the Chicago Bears and Matt Everfluss, and we're also going to talk about the NFL and everything else with Jeremy next week. He'll be here at 4 o'clock next week, right here on Sports Corner show right here. All right, and let's see what else he said. Had to show some love like Ralph does me. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And like I said, Smokin' Jeremy B. It's the two Smokins, Smokin' Jeremy B. and Smokin' Jim Frazier. Well, you know what? I'm a privileged guy there, Smokin' Jim. I get both of them. So, I get both of you. So, but anyway. All right.
My man.
Yeah. Oh, you know it. And, okay. Don't forget also on Saturday on AM 1250 and 92.5 FM, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., the Ralph Williams Show. I'm working on getting Tony Moreno back on this week. On December 18th, or on December, not 18th, December 21st, which is the Saturday before Christmas, I will have Dan DeBone. Dan DeBone is the CEO of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce, and he's going to come on and talk with us about a new convention center that they're building somewhere along Route 30 for Westmoreland County. And he's going to come on and talk with us about how important it is that Spirit Airlines stays at Latrobe Airport, the Arnold Palmer Airport. So he'll be with us on December 21st on the Ralph Williams Show, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., 1250 a.m., 92.5. The Answer. Please tune in. Tell your friend, tell your cousin, tell somebody. Get them listening every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. as well, 1250 a.m., 92.5. The Answer. Sports Corner Radio Show, Ralph Williams, Smokin' Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. And then don't forget 9 a.m., very important, right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch platforms, and also on the Huddle Sports Network. And we're working on some other platforms as well. Ralph Williams, Scott Morganroth, Leo Haggerty, and Smokin' Jeremy Balwick will also will join us as well on the External Bum Show every single Saturday, 9 a.m. We talk bums and sports and a whole lot more right there Saturday morning. All right, what a smorgasbord of stuff for Saturday morning there, Smokin' Jim. How about that?
Man, I tell you what, this is the Ralph Williams Saturday, brother.
You got it. All right. Let's see here. What do we got going on here? All right. Next, we'll be back in a few moments here with the fake Mike Tomlin press conference. Welcome to the fake Mike Tomlin press conference. And now, here's the fake Mike Tomlin. Today, I'm here to say I'm grateful that we had a win against Cincinnati. We have some things we got to clean up, special teams. We had a block kick. That's unacceptable. We let Cincinnati get good field position on the kickoffs. That's unacceptable. We let them put up all those points. That was unacceptable as well. On the injury front, Calvin Austin has a head injury, and he will be examined concussion protocol, and we'll see where he goes. His practice participation will be our guide. So we had some guys with some nicked up due to the game, but nothing serious. And just the common injuries of the game and the common things of the game. So so there we are with that. Anyway, after we got back to Pittsburgh yesterday, I treated everybody to Burger King because we won, and then we'll be practicing this week, getting ready for Cleveland. Cleveland's tough. They have Myles Garrett, one of the best edge rushers in the entire NFL. We have to get into the laboratory and figure out how to beat Cleveland this week, and our guys are going to be ready to go, and I'm excited. We're playing Cleveland, rivalry game at Acrisure Stadium. All right, I'll take questions here. Start with the man over here in the Kango hat.
Hey, Coach Tomlin, congratulations again on non-losing season streak.
Thank you.
Joey Porter, he had a bad game. Are you worried that Judy, are you concerned that Judy may have a big game against Joey?
Well, we're going to find out because I had Joey Porter over my house last night for dinner, and we talked a little bit about some of his things, for the penalties and everything. And I also had Big Joey Porter over there too as well to talk with his son, see if we can motivate him a little bit there. I wanted to bring up a point here about George Pickens. I forgot to mention he needs to really grow up. I mean, he really does, and he's been causing a lot of penalties and a lot of situations, so he really needs to grow up there. All right, this guy right over here with the glasses. Yeah, hey coach, I was wondering what your thoughts were on how come you don't use Mike Williams. Well, we play situational football, and what happens is when we play situational football, there's some situations we need Mike, and there's others that we don't. But Mike contributes blocking, and he's in the game, and we'll try to get him the ball as much as we can. All right, thank you very much, everybody. All right, that was the fake Mike Tomlin press conference. As always, fake Mike Tomlin makes his appearance here on the Sports Corner show. All right, Smokin' Jim Frazier, let's get started here. Pitt football, they lost their fifth game in a row, and they're about to go to a bowl game, and I think they're going to lose their sixth in a row. And Pat Narduzzi, I don't know what his thing is, but I have heard some inklings that perhaps he could get fired if they lose this bowl game as well and go 7-6. I'm not real sure where this team is going to go beyond that, but they lost 5 in a row. Your thoughts on Pitt football?
Hey man, they provided some moments this year, did they not? I think that there's hope for the future, especially if they can get their freshman quarterback to get his head screwed on and play for the NFL instead of the NIL. I think if they come to a reasonable number, NIL money, I mean, $4 million is out of the question, but maybe around $1 million. If he can work with them and with that, I think that they can get some recruits based on his first half of the season. I think the key is the offensive coordinator. But they just got to get back to the winning ways, man. You said they've been cursed since.
I call it the Jackie Sherrill curse.
Jackie Sherrill curse, and I think you're right about that. But they just got to get back. They got everything in place now. They got a GM, they got PR, they got an NIL guy. So, they just got to get back to, try to see if they can. This was a collapse. What can you say? 5 in a row, man. There's no words that can ease the pain of the Pitt fans right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And before we get to your boxing report, let's talk a little bit about West Virginia, who just fired Neil Brown. He was down there for about 4 or 5 seasons and didn't do very well. And I will say this: I was on a West Virginia show, believe it or not, the other night. Or on Sunday night, I was on a West Virginia show with Shane Stedmiller, who we're going to possibly have next week at 4:30. He covers West Virginia athletics. We're going to have him come on here and talk about the firing of Neil Brown. Who's the number one candidate? Rumors are circulating it's Jimbo Fisher and also a few other guys. I suggested a few myself. We'll see where West Virginia goes with this hire. What do you think, Smokin' Jim, West Virginia goes with this hire before we get to your boxing report?
Man, I tell you what, they can't swing and miss. I think that 2 people made a mistake. West Virginia made a mistake, and Rich Rodriguez made a mistake leaving West Virginia. He just didn't feel like he could ever. He was so disappointed when Pitt upset him when they were on their way to maybe a national championship that he just felt like he couldn't win it there. He had tremendous success. They loved him. He loved them. He has not had any success since he departed, but they need that type of coach. They need somebody with a dynamic offense, dynamic leadership, a young guy, enthusiastic, that can go in there and understand the tradition in this region and just win. And so I don't know where they're going to find such a person.
All right. Smokin' Jeremy B here says third coach to be fired in 2 seasons after the Lions beat him. He's talking about Matt Everfart. I call him Everfart, actually. It's Everfluss. But, you'll be surrounded by a couple smoking hot guys. The ladies will love it. next week, Smoking Jim. And Pat Narduzzi is washed up. Yes, he is. Absolutely. I believe it's time for a change. And, you got a new athletic director. I think he's going to want to bring in his own coach. So we'll see where that goes. Smoking Jim's boxing report. Go ahead, Smoking Jim.
Well, I tell you what, man. Everybody is still talking about the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, whether it was fake or real. But I tell you something that's real, man. There's the best boxer, female woman's boxer on the planet is Clarissa Shields, and she has a movie coming out that'll be in the theaters on Christmas. And she got a tremendous background, man. I think she won she's the first female to ever win an Olympic gold medal, and she did that at 17, did it again at 21. She won 2 back-to-back Olympic medals. Don't forget, she grew up in the ghetto. She grew up in Flint, Michigan. Her dad was in jail her whole life, and he's still in jail. I don't know if he was ever going to get out. Maybe they'll say that in the movies, but she grew up as a fighter, man. She fought her way from poverty to multi-million dollars. Now she got a movie coming out. She's undefeated. She even tried MMA a little bit. She I think she's 3-1 in MMA. But she's undefeated boxer, tremendous fighter, and kind of carrying women's boxing on her back for a long time. So, and she had some Western Pennsylvania issues. Probably the best fighter ever, female fighter out of Western Pennsylvania, is a lady named Tika Hemingway, and Clarissa Shields beat her in the Olympic trials. Tika was ranked number 2 in the world, and Clarissa Shields beat her when she was only 17 years old, and everybody thought they would fight again in the pros, but Tika Hemingway, she had a few fights in the pros. She won. She was undefeated, but I don't think she got the money that she thought that she should have received. So I don't think she's even fighting anymore. But yeah, Clarissa Shields' movie comes out Christmas time. Everybody should go see it.
All right, Smoking Jim Frazier's boxing report. Thank you very much for that. And there still was a buzz about the Jake Paul fight. Like you said, whether it's negative or positive or whatever, there's still a big thing about it, mostly about the Netflix thing, about how the whole thing went down. They're getting ready to start sports there. They have the NFL coming up, and they also have some other sports. They have WWE Raw getting ready to start in January. So Netflix better get their act together, because if they don't, they're going to have major problems. And what's going to happen is people are going to start getting rid of their subscriptions and things like that if they can't, get the signal. And I mean, they better do something with that stream. So I mean, fix it and fix it fast, because if they don't, there's going to be major, major problems. And the last thing you want to do is piss off your subscribers. So but anyway, all right, Smoking Jim, hang on 1 second here. See what we got here. Hello? Oh, well, I think that was Matt VENSEL. Let me get him back on the phone here a little bit. That's what we got here. I see it ringing, but I can't get it to slide. Hello? Let's see what we got here. Okay. Yeah, that was him. All right. 1 second here, folks. Let's get Matt back on the phone here somehow. It's not, I'm having problems with the screen here. Oh, there we go again. Let's see what we got. Come on, guys. This phone don't want to. There it is. Hello, Matt. Matt. All right, great. Matt VENSEL is here from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Matt, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, you're welcome. Tell us, the Penguins have, a winning streak going. What's been improving lately with the Penguins that's making this happen?
Well, I think it starts in their own end. And not only has Tristan Jarry played better, and also Alex one start over the past week. You're just seeing a team that actually is showing interest in defending. And I know that sounds silly to say, but I mean, they just didn't really look super interested in keeping the puck out of their net for much of the season. So I think the Boston game in particular, which I was up there in Boston for that game,
Right.
you saw the sacrifice. It wasn't even just what they did in their own end. It's, their decisions with the puck. Mike Sullivan talks a lot about staying on the right side of the puck. That basically means don't cheat for offense. If be between your own net and the puck. I mean, we've seen a lot of that, which kind of cut down on the odd man rushes. And then we saw, Chris Letang sprawling in the crease. We saw Sidney Crosby dropping down to block shots. And you're just starting to see that sacrifice and that commitment. Now, is it going to continue? Let's just say that I'm skeptical, but at least over the last week here, they showed that they are capable of winning a 2-1 game if they actually want to do it. And we'll see if it continues.
All right. Real quick here, we're going to go to the comment section here real quick before we get back to Matt here. I want to take care of all my watchers here. Wanted to say hi, Ralph. Hope you're well. Thank you very much, WVOGS18. Also, hi, Smokin Jeremy B, who's joined us on the Kneecap Biting Network as well. He's joined us on the air here as on the comment section. Okay, Smokin Jim, you have any say hello to Matt? Do you have any questions for Matt?
Hey, Matt, always good to hear you, man. Appreciate you coming on, man. I tell you what, man, everybody's just excited, man, about the goaltending is recently with the Penguins and the winning streak, man. And I know even when they were losing, they weren't that far out of playoff contention, man. So what do you think is going to happen here down the stretch and in the second half of the season?
Well, the Pens are still going through a real critical stretch. I mean, I wrote 2 weeks ago that this little 10-game segment that they're in is a make or break stretch for them. If you look at the teams they're playing, a lot of really good ones, and also what's at stake. I mean, if the team falters, would they start selling off more players? And so far, so good. I mean, they've won 3 games. They caught Boston when Boston's in a downturn. They're going to catch the Rangers this weekend when they're in a downturn. But, I think they've kind of responded. The players knew what was at stake, and I think they've kind of kicked it into gear here. But they play Florida tonight. Florida's a heck of a team. Some more difficult opponents coming up. Kyle Dubas's old team, Toronto. So we'll see how this next 5 games goes. And after that, the schedule kind of loosens up a little bit. But, I think at least what they've done over the last week or so is kind of given hope that maybe they can stabilize. I don't know if they're going to make a playoff team, but they also aren't going to be a laughing stock, which is kind of what they were in a few games here in the month of November.
All right. Matt is brought to you today by Farmers Insurance in Bristol West. Robin Campbell Insurance, call 412-366-3399. Robin Campbell Insurance is today's sponsor for Matt VENSEL, our guest on the phone from the Post-Gazette. Matt, tell us a little bit about this guy that they traded for. I can't pronounce his name off the top of my head. Tomasino. Tomasino.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's a fun one to say. Yeah, I mean, Kyle Dubas has been candid about really ever since they traded away Jake Gensel in the spring, basically saying, look, like, we're trying to bring in young, talented players. And you saw them do it with Cody Glass. Now, I think Cody Glass is a little bit of a different story. He's 25. He was a former top 10 pick, but he's more of a proven player at this point. It kind of is what he is. But Tomasino is a couple years younger. He's 23. Another former first-round pick. He actually was picked 3 picks behind Sam Poulin a few years back. You see the skill. It's pretty fast.
Yes,
they need to round out they're talking about rounding out the rest of his game. So, you wonder how soon he'll wind up in Mike Sullivan's doghouse. But if he's putting the puck in the net like he has in the last couple of games, he's going to be in the lineup. So, it's a good effort by them to try to get some young players in there to give this team some speed and some life. You see Owen Pickering there as well. And, by all accounts, Kyle Dubas is not done. He's still looking to see what else is out there to maybe take a flyer on another one of these buy low guys. I mean, there's a reason that they're available. There's a reason that some of these guys are now on their second or third team. But, all it takes is one to really hit big with a change of scenery for it to be a big win for Kyle Dubas. I mean, just look at a guy like Jared McCann a few years back. Now, obviously, they let him go in the expansion draft, but a guy who can come in on his second or third team and give the team a jolt. And so far, so good for Tomasino.
There's been some criticism lately of Kyle Dubas. I know when he was in Toronto, he had somebody overseeing him, and now he's in charge of the whole ball of wax here. What's your thoughts on the job he's doing right now? Sometimes people don't understand. Penguins have a salary cap, and they're stuck with some bad deals that Ron Hextall made and some other things. What's your thoughts on Kyle Dubas, and what do you think his job is right now, or how he's doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been mistakes, a big mistake in terms of the Erik Karlsson trade.
Yeah,
And
that was.
I think it can kind of be confusing too for fans, because you look at him going out and getting Karlsson, but also, trading Jake Gensel, and now he's rebuilding, and, it doesn't really seem like maybe it adds up. But, I think if you zoom out and look at it, I mean, he wanted to put a competitive team on the ice last year. That's why he went out and got Karlsson, and he signed Graves, and obviously that's been a mistake so far, and brought back Jari. And he was kind of going for it, and I think he rightfully got 6 months into the year and realized this team was flawed and they didn't have a chance to win, and decided to make a U-turn. And I think he's been transparent about that. And ever since then, he's been trying to add picks and prospects. They have 28 draft picks in the next 3 drafts.
Wow.
They brought in a few guys. They made the Rucker McGroarty trade. We'll see how that works out. But so I think the process here, ever since the Jake Gensel trade, has been good. I mean, tearing it down, or
well, sometimes you got to tear down the castle. Sometimes you got to tear down the castle, Matt. And rebuild. I mean,
Well, the easy part is acquiring the picks. The tough part is picking the right players with them. So it's kind of like a tale of 2 chapters, so to speak, with Kyle Dubas. And I think the second chapter here, so far so good. I think it makes sense to try to prioritize the future, and we'll see how these moves pay off. But he definitely made a clear U-turn at the trade deadline last year and say, okay, we got to do something differently. And I still think some fans are still not quite grasping that maybe because he hasn't come out and just said the word rebuild. Maybe if he just said, hey, look, we're rebuilding, fans would be like, oh, got it. But I mean, he's basically saying it with his moves.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios at 808 Studios here in the Allentown section of the city of Pittsburgh, 724-2010-500 Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Get your air conditioner fixed now, especially if you live in Erie, and especially if you live here with the cold weather. You better get your furnace fixed. Get it fixed now. Get your air conditioner rebuilt for the summertime. That way you have it ahead of time. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. They also offer UV lighting and snow melt and a whole lot more. Give them a call today. Tell them Ralph Williams sent you. All right. Matt, let me ask you this question. I've noticed the goaltending has improved. It's great to see that the Penguins brought back Nedeljkovic, and they also have Jari back from his rehab or his adjustment assignment, or whatever you want to call it, there down in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, and all that. What's your thoughts right now on the goaltending?
Well, it certainly helps that they're playing better in front of them. I mean, that goes a long way. I mean, the goaltending was not good. Goalies are allowed to make saves, but they're also putting a lot of stress on the goalies with all the odd man rushes and shots from the slot. Still not great in that area, but they've tightened up. And yeah, I mean, I think Jari's the main one here. It's clear his confidence was shaken with how the season started. He knew there was a lot at stake. He knew he struggled last year, and then for the season to start the way it did, it clearly took a hit to his confidence. So, I think you're starting to see him kind of come around there. I mean, I'm not ready to say he's completely over the hump and he's going to be an all-star goalie, but, I think him stacking, first he stacked some decent performances, and then he stacked wins. I mean, the first win he got last week was his first win since the 3rd or 4th game of the season. And then he won back-to-back games for the first time since like February or March. So, winning and just kind of getting that out of the way, I think has helped his confidence. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him continue that trajectory. Obviously goalies are mercurial, him in particular. We'll see. Maybe he'll play tonight and let up 8 goals. Don't hold me to it, but it does feel like things are trending in the right direction for him. And then with Nedeljkovic, I mean, he's he's a great guy. He's a battler. I mean, this guy does not quit. But if you just look at his entire body of work, he's a backup goalie. He's a pretty good backup goalie. So I think we're kind of seeing him in the role he should be in. And, it all depends on Jari continuing to be able to carry the workload and play a lot of games. But I think they're kind of slotting into where they're supposed to be. And, it's just a question of how long or if it's going to continue.
Yeah, we need a good 1-2 punch here at goalie. We haven't had that for a while, and we need that. And I think, maybe perhaps with this winning streak, I just hope that the Penguins don't get into some kind of 10-game losing funk like they have in the past, where they win 5 games, lose 10. I call it the roller coaster season, and they've had a lot of those lately. And I'm hoping that maybe perhaps it'll stay stable. Smokin' Jim, you have any questions for Matt? Any further questions?
No, I'm enjoying the conversation, brother.
All right. Matt, I want to thank you for being part of the program today. Thank you. And, we had to bring you on by phone today. Usually we bring you on through the internet, but it was great to have you on board here. And once again, we'll have you back on again. Hope Penguins make the playoffs. See what happens.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry I couldn't do video. I had to scoot
okay.
over to the rink today. It's a game night.
Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry. We'll do it by phone or by sticks and stones or write it down or whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll get you on. So,
All right.
Hey, thanks, Matt, for being on. Matt VENSEL, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, covers the Pittsburgh Penguins. Smokin' Jim, your thoughts on the Pens?
I tell you what, man, I've never been down on the Penguins. They got the big three, man, and it's always something going on, whether it's Malkin and Crosby getting their 600th goal. It's something monumental is always happening with the Penguins when you have guys who's been together for 18 seasons, man. So I'm excited. I always thought they needed a goaltender. The more goaltending you have, the better, because they do go in a slump. And it look like right now the Penguins are playing pretty good defense. Goaltending is on point, and they're winning right now. So all you can ask for.
Oh no, I know exactly. All right, Smokin' Jim. When we come back, we're going to talk Steelers, NFL, and much more right after these words.
Rip you off. But I have a shop for you to fix your car the right way at the right price. Big Dog Auto in West Mifflin by the Allegheny County Airport. Oil change, state inspection, and more. Call today, 412-999-0191. For good car repair, call the Big Dog. Big Dog's Auto. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Digital Data gives you on-demand access to a team of professional web designers and data-driven marketers for an affordable monthly flat rate. Discover your website's earning potential today. At Digital Data, our goal is to provide small businesses with the tools and services they need to be successful online by utilizing our team's deep knowledge and experience. Call now, 866-276-9504. Draft Nation, the leader in pro sports drafts, content, and events, invites you to join the sports premier sports draft community online at draftnation.com. Enjoy 24/7, 365 coverage of all 4 major sports and their professional drafts, covering all aspects of team building, including player scouting, mock drafts, free agency, trade deadlines, and the needs for your favorite teams. Come join Draft Nation for free at draftnation.com. You like basketball? Well, I have a basketball team here in Pittsburgh called the Steel City Yellow Jackets. They're an ABA basketball team who has won championships and have affordable ticket prices. Their home games are played in the Allentown section of the city of Pittsburgh. Check out scyyellowjackets.com for game information and tickets. Look forward to seeing you there.
All right, we're back here at Sports Corner Show. Ralph Williams, Smokin, Jim Frazier, and we're going to be talking about the Steelers here. As you know, Sunday the Steelers played the Cincinnati Bengals, and they play Joe Burrow and company. Your thoughts on the game, Smokin, Jim?
Man, what a great game, man. I tell you what, man, if the Steelers go to the Super Bowl, they can look back on this game where they really grew up. You got to realize, man, that Russell Wilson has only been with his team 6 games. Him and Art Smith is learning each other. They're learning the team. Man, you go to 10 different receivers. You know what that means? That means everybody that gets on the field is busting their tail because they know sooner or later they're going to get an opportunity to catch the football. And in past years, that wasn't the case. And I tell you what, man, this team is just getting gooder and gooder. I was worried about that game because I knew that Joe Burrow was going to put up some points, and he did. But the Pittsburgh Steelers was able to match it and even outdo it. So, what a great game, man, to look back on.
Yeah,
what do you think, Ralph?
Oh, the defense stepped up in the fourth quarter. I like that Peyton Wilson scoop up and running in for a touchdown. I've been cheering that kid on the whole season. I think he's going to be a good linebacker for the Steelers eventually here or there. And Nick Herbig stripped the ball out of his hand. T.J. Watt started doing a couple things, even though he didn't do much in the game, but he did what he needed to do as he normally does to get some things done. Cam Hayward had a good game. It was a variety of people who had a good game this week. And I agree with you. I like the way Russell Wilson spread the ball around. Even Ben Strodnick even had catches. And Ben Strodnick don't catch anything. He's there to block. So, it was great to see how he spread the ball around Russell Wilson. George Pickens has to, when I don't agree with mediocre Mike about too much stuff, but this I do. He has to grow up. But I blame Mike Tomlin for this. Help him grow up. Okay? Somebody's got to step in and help him grow up, mentor him a little bit. I hear Broderick Jones has been talking to him when he makes mistakes at the end of, after the mistake, he pulls him right close to him and talks to him. I know they were teammates down in Georgia. So, I get that. But you know what? Somebody needs to step up and really say something or do something about George Pickens here. This is unacceptable. You know what, Smokin' Jim? I will give you credit, and this is what I'm going to give you. Because you were right about Joey Porter. And you know what? Everybody else laughed at Smokin' Jim but me. I agreed with him. And what I saw in this game, Smokin' Jim is right. Joey Porter needs to move to safety because otherwise it's going to down the road, it's going to cost the Steelers some games with these penalties. Your thoughts, Smokin' Jim?
And I thank you for that, Ralph. I appreciate that. And,
you're welcome.
And listen, Joey Porter's a phenomenal athlete. I mean, he's almost 6'3". He got arm span of a guy that's 6'7". He can run. His football IQ is through the roof because his dad played in the league. And when you play free safety, you don't have to be involved much in the tackling. You can just play center field, get back there and intercept passes because he got good hands. He played wide receiver in high school and was recruited by a lot of schools as a receiver. But he'll never be a cornerback. He's never going to stop grabbing and clutching, and he don't have the quickness of a foot. Mel Blount was tall, but he could Mel Blount had quick twitch muscles in his feet and legs. Joey's a long strider, so
Right.
he's always going to be beat. He's always going to lose a step right off the ball, so he's going to have to grab. He never looks back at the quarterback. The one penalty, how do you get 5-6 penalties in one game and you're not benched? That
Yeah.
one, Ralph,
Exactly.
the quarterback threw it out of the end zone, and
Right.
Joey almost tackled the guy because he had no idea where the ball was. So they couldn't coach him out of that at Penn State. They're not going to coach him out of that in Pittsburgh. That's the way he is. And I don't know why you and I are the only two people on the planet
that
sees that this guy needs to be moved to free safety, and Mika Fitzpatrick needs to be moved to strong safety.
Yeah, well, after what you said, and I never doubted you, Smokin' Jim. I never do, because you know what you're talking about. But you did say about this, and really, it came out in the Cincinnati game. And if anyone didn't see this, I mean, it was so obvious. I'll tell you this: it was so obvious. Stevie Wonder could see it. That's how obvious this was. Okay, I actually sat there for a minute and said, you know what? These officials are deliberately picking on this kid. But you know what? It's going to happen. You're going to get an officiating crew that's going to let you play, but you're going to get an officiating crew like Sean Hockley, who's going to keep calling penalties. Okay, and everyone forgets Sean Hockley is Ed Hockley's brother, and Ed Hockley was one of the best officials in the NFL. And he was also a lawyer as well. He did a lawyer job full time and refereeing part time. So whenever Ed Hockley would come up with a penalty, he would explain it like a lawyer. He would say holding on number 68 because he was holding so and so or doing something, and it was hilarious the way he used to do that. But that was his style. And Sean Hockley now is he's going to call. They're going to call that penalty all the time. And I'm telling you, you're right. If it was anybody else but him, but Joey Porter, they would have been benched. He would have been benched immediately. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Look what happened to Derrick Henry when he fumbled that ball. You didn't see him in the whole Ravens-Steeler game after that. That's a coach that does something like that. Okay? If it was Belichick and he was playing for New England, he'd be benched after the first penalty or the second penalty, maybe. You know what I mean? And Belichick would have fixed that. Belichick would have fixed Pickens. Belichick would have fixed anything that was that. Pickens wouldn't even be playing on a team for New England. That's the difference between Belichick and Mike Tomlin. And sometimes Mike Tomlin lets people get away with stuff. I tell George Pickens, if you're not going to do it, look, win, lose, or draw, I don't need you. But you know what? The Steelers need Pickens, and that's the biggest problem right here. They need him. You know what I mean? Because if they don't have him, they're in trouble. They don't have nobody else. They really don't. I mean, they have a few guys, and Austin's hurt now. So what I liked, though, was in the Cincinnati game, they ran that same play they ran against Cleveland for that touchdown. That was the same play they ran against Cleveland. So speaking of Cleveland, they lost last night, Smokin' Jim. We all saw that, 41-32. And the Ravens lost to the Eagles, 24-19. And then Cincinnati losing to the Steelers. The Steelers were the only team in the AFC North to win their game this week. So, all right, we're getting ready to close up shop here. Stay tuned. Coming up in about 5 minutes, Wrestle Talk with me, Ralph Williams, Smokin' Jim Frazier, and our special guest at 5:30 will be Matt Veretiak. He is coming here to join. He will be on the show to join us. He is the ring announcer for the Pros of Wrestling, and we're going to bring him on in a week or two to talk about high school football, the ending of the season, the playoffs, and everything else as well. So, Smokin' Jim, your final thoughts before we wrap it up.
Well, I tell you what, man, Joey Porter's in trouble again this week. We've been lucky because we really don't see a lot of the passing teams that is associated with the NFC. But I tell you what, man, Jameis Winston, he's going to throw the football all around the yard. He don't care if he throws interceptions or not.
Right.
So he put up 497 yards against Denver at Denver. So
I hate to say this.
Throw the football.
I hate to say this. I'm not a Cleveland fan. I can't stand the team. But I got to give Ken Dorsey credit because you know what? Ken Dorsey has resurrected his career as an offensive coordinator. And then he's worked with Jameis Winston to help him out as well. And you know what? I didn't notice. You know who's the defensive assistant on his team? Mike Vrabel.
Wow.
That's why their defense is so good.
Wow.
Because Mike Vrabel's the defensive assistant. Yes, he is.
I didn't know that.
He's the assistant to the assistant in the movie theater. So, you know, but yeah, he's an assistant working under Jim Schwartz. So, you know, who's their defensive coordinator. That's why they have a good defense. So, I mean, they really do. They've just had some hard luck in some games, just like Cincinnati and just like the Ravens. Everybody's had hard luck, but the Ravens in Cincinnati, Zach Taylor's made some bad coaching decisions in some of these games that he's lost, and so has John Harbaugh. So, I mean, you know, but all right, Smokin' Jim, thank you once again, and thank you all for watching Sports Corner. Coming up in 5 minutes at 5 o'clock is the Wrestle Talk Show with me and Smokin' Jim Frazier. We're going to take a little break here, and we'll be back at 5 o'clock for Wrestle Talk. Don't go away. We have a lot to talk about. Survivor Series. How about the old Bloodline beating up on the new Bloodline? And we're going to have some audio clips of last night's Raw and some audio clips about the Survivor Series. Last night's Raw was very interesting last night. Very, very interesting. The New Day celebrated their 10th anniversary. CM Punk and Seth Rollins got face-to-face, and then Rollins ended up facing Sami Zayn. I have some audio from some of this stuff from last night. We're going to play it for you, and the Survivor Series as well. We're going to, Smokin' Jim and I are going to break that all down. News about Matt Riddle. Wait till you hear this news. That's all coming up next hour. And Matt Voracek, you can't ask for a better show. Wrestle Talk coming right up. Stay here for Smokin' Jim Frazier. I'm Ralph Williams. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a few minutes.